we recording?
We are.
Hi, party people. Welcome back to Not Quite a Vac. Today we'll be talking about
John Carpenter's Christmas. I'm sorry, John Carpenter's Thanksgiving.
Halloween. And not just John Carpenter's Halloween, but the entire Halloween film series.
The entire franchise.
Alright, so, get started, of course, with the first one, the classic, John Carpenter's Halloween. And, we're not going to spend too much time on the original Halloween, because if you go on any other film reviewer on this site, or any film reviewer in general, anyone who considers themselves a fan of horror, they're going to tell you how great the original Halloween is, and they're exactly right.
It's classic.
It is the slasher.
It is maybe not the first, it's not definitely not the first slasher, but it's definitely what popularized it.
It lays the blueprint for what a slasher film is.
Michael Myers is great, Donald Pleasance is great, and Jamie Lee Curtis is great. Everybody's great in this movie. Michael Myers is frightening, he's tall, he's cool, and he's scary. And this movie is everything that a slasher should be.
It's a classic. If you haven't seen it by now, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go out, watch it. It's a good movie.
And the theme. Classic.
The theme is so good. A little bit of that 5/4 time signature. Yeah, good stuff.
Halloween 2.
Yes, we're gonna stop Halloween now and move on to some of the less beloved films in this franchise.
Yeah, it takes place immediately after the first one. It came out 3 years later in 81.
Yes. It is one of those rare films that takes place literally the second that the previous film left off.
Now, this one is not directed by John Carpenter. However, he did help write it.
Yes.
He's one of the writers along with Deborah Hill.
And that you can definitely tell. This probably has one of the best scripts, besides the original, of any of these movies.
It's a nice follow-up. It's not as good as the first one. No, but it is a decent follow-up.
Yes, and if you watch the first one and consider the ending a cliffhanger, like, where'd Michael go? He's not on the ground. Then this will definitely put your thoughts at ease. And if this had been the last film in the franchise, it would have been a pretty darn good ending.
This is the one where some information is revealed.
Yes, there's the twist that Laurie Strode is the surviving sister of Michael Myers, which that idea is not present really in the original at all. Why Michael Myers is going after Laurie is completely unknown to both her, the audience, everybody. But in this, it's revealed in a bit of a twist that that's what's going on.
And I think the idea previously was that he was just a killer. He was just like a stalker.
Yes.
He was a man full of just hate, and he killed everybody. And then it became apparent that he was coming after Laurie because Laurie was the remaining family member to him.
I kind of have mixed feelings about the twist because if you watch the original not knowing that Laurie is his sister and he's just someone going after someone randomly, I think there's a bit more tension, more frightening quality to somebody being targeted for no reason rather than like a more obvious reason like that. I don't hate Laurie being Michael's sister, but I feel like it does take away a little bit from the mystery of the original.
This is the one where you notice that the deaths are more graphic, because in the first one you see some people get stabbed, but in this one he actually was it a hot tub that he drowns that woman and her skin peels off. This is where it starts to escalate, where it's kind of like, okay, they're getting more graphic here.
Yeah. You can tell that Rick Rosenthal, the director, is talented and capable, which if you had only seen Halloween Resurrection, you wouldn't know. We'll get into that later. But Halloween 2 is, it's not up to the par of the original Rick, I wouldn't say, is anywhere near as good a filmmaker as John Carpenter, but he very much understands tension, pacing. It's a very quality horror sequel.
Now this is where things get a little bit quirky in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It came out in 1982, which is 1 year after Halloween 2. Now this one does not have Michael Myers in it, although technically it does, but it doesn't.
It doesn't even take place in the same fictional universe as the Michael Myers movies do, because you see the original Halloween clips of it on television.
Which is where you see Michael, which is where I said technically.
Yes. Halloween 3 has more to do with the actual holiday of Halloween than even the first two do. Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 went under the radar, underappreciated for a very long time, until people realized that there's something to this little movie that nobody went and saw, and nobody really wanted to see. There's something to it. It's pretty darn good.
It's a very interesting film, I'll say that. Very ambitious.
Yes. It's got... I would describe it as a very They Live vibe. It's about a character, or a couple characters, exploring this place that don't know much about. The people there act weird. They're trying to uncover a mystery. It feels very much like a John Carpenter film. It's a very interesting movie. The main character is kind of like a dumpy, middle-aged doctor guy who, like, cheats on his wife and just kind of ends up stumbling into this mystery about an Irish warlock who wants to make all the children in America have their heads be turned into a mess of, like, snakes and insects. They stole one of the megaliths from Stonehenge and they're doing experiments on it, and they combine the magic of Stonehenge with technology, and they put chips in the masks, and somehow the magic plus the technology shoots out a laser if children watch a certain commercial with the mask on, and it turns their head into snakes and insects. And if you mess with the chip, as we see in one scene, then it can misfire and zap a laser at you, and what it does to people.
3 more days till Halloween. That song's gonna get stuck in your head.
Yes, got a very catchy little jingle for this fictional mask-making company that's going to do this. But what did you think about the scene where you actually see what it's going to do to the kid for the first time?
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know, it kind of shocked me, but like at the same time I was kind of like, it's kind of cool. But I wasn't like blown away.
Yeah.
But it was pretty crazy.
This movie, has a lot of balls. I always respect movies or TV shows in which they will kill children. That's just a thing.
He hates children.
No, I don't. But movies and TV shows that are willing to kill children, they got balls on them. Not only do we see a child have his head turned into snakes and insects, but the ending implies that nearly all of the children in America will have their heads turned into snakes and insects. The ending of this film is very dark and depressing. It doesn't really explore its premise enough. It kind of touches on some of the magic stuff with like Stonehenge, but I don't think it goes in depth enough to really understand Cochrane's motives.
And then after that big budget flop that it was, that stupid floppy fish that Halloween 3 wasn't. They're like, oh heckin' fart, we have to bring back Michael Myers. So now we have Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers, and they brought Michael back, and guess who they got back? Donald Pleasance. That's right.
He's really the best part of all of these Halloween sequels because he's easily the best actor in any of them, and the Sam Loomis character is just pleasant to watch as always.
Yeah.
Pleasance to watch.
He seems like the only one that'll be like, hey guys, we have to take out Michael Myers. Everybody's like, haha, yeah, right, we'll be fine. And he's like, no, seriously, this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah, Halloween 4, I actually like a lot. It's not as good as the first one, or 2, or 3. Not that good, but it's got some very good scenes, and it's got some very good ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. There's some stupid stuff in it too, like, how he's killing people in the back of the truck and nobody notices that he's back there. Or anybody in the trunk, or driving the truck doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting, they killed Jamie Lee Curtis's character off camera. They're like, oh, she had a daughter and she had a car crash, so she's not alive anymore. But she has this daughter, and now Michael's coming after this daughter because it's his niece, and he has to kill everybody who's related to him because that's what drives him. And the niece is played by Danielle Harris.
Yeah, I like the idea of the Jamie character. And as far as child acting goes, pretty good.
Yeah, she was
not
really
bad.
good, yeah.
Never got annoying or roll my eyes. Not like a absolutely stellar performance or anything, but serviceable, and as far as child acting goes, marvelous.
The ending of the fourth one's pretty good.
The ending of the fourth one, it's probably my favorite ending of most of them. Easily top 3.
Yeah, the ending where they shoot Michael and they drop the dynamite stick and he's gone, but he's not gone because so many sequels, and then you get into the Meyer Jamie's house and Jamie's older sister, and you see the scene that they recreate from Halloween 1 where you see the mask come over the face and oh, Michael's back, he put his mask on, you see the knife picked up, oh, he's gonna go stab whoever. He's not dead, and you hear the blood and you hear the screaming, or you see the blood and you hear the screaming, and then Sam Loomis starts screaming, and he jumps around the corner on a stairwell, and then it cuts to, and it's Jamie wearing the same mask that Michael was wearing whenever he killed his sister when he was her age, so she is kind of following in his pattern, and he, I like Loomis's reaction. He's like, no, and he immediately pulls out his gun. He's like, no!
He's putting his foot down.
Yeah, he's like, this is no! And then, the other cop, takes the gun from him and is like, you can't shoot. And he's like, no!
It's such a good ending. I actually didn't see it coming. I figured it had just been Michael. And then you find out that it's Jamie, and that is a great ending. 10 out of 10. There's, rednecks that, are, patrolling the town and, trying to...
They hear that Michael has escaped, or he's back.
Riding around with shotguns, trying to shoot everything that's in the shadows. Did they kill a kid in the bushes at some point?
Yeah, they killed someone in the bushes. It was a teenager. They're like, oh, was that who so and so's boy? And they're like, yeah.
Move on, get back in the truck.
Yeah.
What I thought was cool, flesh out what goes on in Haddonfield a little bit more. Yeah, good stuff. Now that I know that scene that I really liked is in the 5th one and the 4th one, I'm really struggling to remember what exactly even goes on in the 4th one, but I can certainly remember liking it.
Scene. I love the gas station.
The gas station scene actually,
Yeah, I'm just giving you stuff to remember. Yeah.
There's a very weird edit where Loomis stops at a gas station. I think just to get gas, or maybe to ask people about something. But he goes in and he sees that he's like, oh, Michael's been here. Because there's dead bodies all over the place. And Loomis is over here, and in this hallway, Michael's right here. He sees Michael, he's like, oh man, Michael, you better stay right where you are. And then, instead of showing a shot of, Michael running away, there's a really weird cut where, he's just not there anymore.
Yeah, and he starts to shoot at him.
Yeah, and it looks like he's just disappeared or fallen to the ground, and we're like, what happened? It's just a very strange way of editing for whatever reason. Must have lost a shot, lost some footage there or something. So I don't know, that was a little weird. Like we said, this movie is not...
It's not...
That doesn't come up to par with the first 3, but it's still pretty good. The Jamie character, I would say, is a suitable protagonist for the Halloween series. She is also in the 5th one, main character. And Sam Loomis, of course, is just doing what Loomis does. And even in the movies that aren't good,
He's the best part.
He's the best part, and his character is pretty much consistent throughout all of them, which I appreciate a lot because it's a very good character. And seeing him develop over this time and having to keep dealing with this problem, it's interesting to watch, certainly.
Anyway, on to the next one. We got Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers. Ooh, I'm angry now. Ooh, I'm in revenge.
Now that I think about it, I think I remember more about Halloween 5. Maybe about 4 for some reason, because I remember the part where she's used as bait, and she's in like the laundry vent, which I was going to talk about in the last one. I'll talk about it now. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in any of these movies.
It's very intense.
It's a very tense scene where she's stuck in this laundry vent. Michael is just there, like stabbing through the vent. She keeps like trying to crawl up and down it. It's kind of slow paced. You feel every second of it as she's trying constantly to get away from him, and he's trying to get at her. And the whole time you're like, how is she going to get out of this? Because they're the only two people who are conscious in the house at that time. Very, very tense, very well executed. Probably my favorite scene in any of these movies. So, big credit to whoever directed the 5th one. Help me out here, man.
Dominique Othen-Garrard. That's an interesting name.
Well, Garrard made a great scene, a great sequence.
It's pronounced right. It's the last name there.
Dominique Othen-Garrard. Nice job with Halloween 5th.
He's racist, sorry.
This is where it kind of gets goofy, slasher-ish, where like he kills people having sex with a pitchfork in a barn.
Yeah, but he lets the kittens live. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it takes place after 4, and they kind of... I was hoping that they would maybe even move away from Michael Myers a little bit. I can understand why they wouldn't want to do that, considering what happened with Halloween 3, and like maybe Jamie's a killer now, like a killer kid. But they don't do that. Instead, she's in the hospital like, I'm all better now. I'm good.
She can't speak. She's going into shock, and she has this weird like connection with Michael. Or every time he's like near her, he's doing stuff. She like reacts as if he's coming. But
yeah, what I like about the first 4 Michael Myers movies in the series is that they kind of they have like a supernatural undertone without explicitly stating what it is. Like there's a weird psychic connection. It's very vague between Jamie and Michael that they kind of know when each other is close, as well as him being able to, withstand getting shot through both eyes in the second one and getting shot several times in the first one and throughout all the other films. So there's obviously something more than human to him, but they never really say what it is. That is until the 6th one, but we'll get to that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the main girl, like besides Jamie, who's in the 5th one, is in the 4th one, right? But only for like 1 or 2 scenes. Yeah, which is weird. They kind of just pluck like a random one of the friends of one of the other main protagonists from the 4th one. It's like, you're the protagonist now. She's significantly less interesting and becomes one of those slasher, more like a character in a modern slasher who's just kind of terrible and you like wouldn't mind if they died. So, yeah, Halloween 5 Halloween 4 was a quality drop, but it wasn't like the quality of the story, like the essence hadn't started going downhill yet. In 5, it starts to get
Also, before we move on, I think it's funny how in the end of Halloween 4, they dropped a dynamite thing and it blows up, and then in the 5th one, you see him escape and he goes down the river or whatever, and that guy picks him up and lets him live in his shack. And he like picks up Michael Myers' body and just lays it on the table bed thing that he's got there, and he's like, I guess taking care of Michael. Or taking care of the body, but like Michael doesn't move for an entire year. He like waits an entire year for Halloween, and once it hits like that, midnight, he like sits up and he's like, Halloween? Alright, cool. And then he like kills that guy, and he's like, alright, I'm going on with my mission.
And in between 2 and 4, I'm pretty sure he just lays on the hospital bed and doesn't move. Until he overhears a bunch of Ricky Grandos talking about, hey, he's got a niece, I wonder if he knows.
Yeah.
And he's like,
what'd you say?
I smell Myers.
He's like, I smell my blood. Not my actual blood, but like my bloodline.
5 is decent, I would say. Not as good as 4, and 4 is not as good as the first 3. So as you can see, it's kind of a steady progression downward. Although, yeah, if you've already gone to the trouble of watching the 4th one, you might as well watch the 5th one. So it's a light recommendation.
Now, on to Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, directed by Joe Chappelle. Also, there's 2 cuts of this movie. There's this version and there's the producer's cut. We'll briefly talk about the producer's cut because there's not that much difference, even though everybody thought there was for a while there. Also, real quick, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this one, right? No, he's in H2O. Never mind, I lied. Who's in this one? Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. He's actually in like a starring role, one of his first.
Yeah, it was the first movie he filmed, but it was his second movie that was released because Clueless got released before this, but he filmed it after this.
Yes.
At the end of the 5th one, this guy comes into the jail, so you don't see him. He blows up Michael Myers. Yeah. He shoots up the police station, and when you see Michael is not there anymore. And now we're in this one, this one came out in '95, which is like I don't even know how long after the last one.
But it does kind of get resolved in the 6th one, but people had to wait 6 years for it.
That wasn't worth it.
Yes, and the 6th one is where they officially establish that yes, there's something supernatural going on with Michael Myers. However, I have the same complaint with this as with the 3rd one, which is they go into the supernatural stuff a little bit, but they don't go enough into it. Where they might as well have not even mentioned it at all.
I don't like the explanation of the supernatural. I would have preferred to just be like, he just is this.
Yeah.
He's just, you can't kill him. You can't stop him. We don't know what it is or what he is, but you just can't stop him. But in this one, they kind of try to give an explanation, and I was like, I don't really care for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the supernatural explanation, but if they were gonna do it, then, do it and explain what's going on, and this whole cult thing that they have established, the cult of Thorn or whatever, but they really don't. They talk about it a little bit in the beginning, and then there's, little hints throughout. In the producer's cut, they actually go into it a little bit more, but still not really enough for my taste, what I would want out of it. Yeah, the beginning, actually, of this movie, I like. They establish this character who's been adopted by the Strode family, which is not blood related to Michael, but related sort of kind of through adoption. And they have this weird, abusive dad character, and some of the establishing this family that lives in the old Myers house. I'm like, okay, I like this. This is kind of interesting. There's a little bit of some silly acting here and there, and the editing is that dumb, and there's a lot of sound effects when things happen, and they're not even scary. False jump scare crap that's just dumb.
It's good stuff.
And I hate.
It's good.
But I would say for the first part of the movie, the script is not terrible, and I was with it. I'm like, okay, I'm with you. It starts to get dumb toward the middle, and by the end, it just gets dumber. There's a whole ton of wasted potential, especially when you kind of look into the production of this movie and you realize that apparently the script was so good that that's the only reason that Donald Pleasance signed on to do another one when he was getting older. And then supposedly, and then by the time he was already on, the script had already been rewritten to crap. It just goes to show how the Hollywood machine would rather churn out crap than good films. That's a whole other topic. But I wanted to, I always go into movies, wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Anytime I hear a movie, it's movie's really bad, man. I'm like, you know what? I want to find something to like about it. And there are things I like about it. Little story stuff. I like Paul Rudd's character. I think it's interesting that they kind of went with, one of the kids that Loomis had originally saved. I like Loomis in this movie as an older man trying to deal with this in his old age.
He's not in it much.
No, unfortunately. And Donald Pleasance really, he was getting older, so he lends a lot of that to the character, kind of. You really feel it. You really feel his performance. I say his performance is great in this movie, as it is in all the other ones.
In this one, you could really see his age, though.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. Because he died not too long after this one.
It was during production.
Was it?
If I'm not mistaken. Which is why the ending is so terrible. From what I've heard.
Yeah, you can kind of like, you can see it in the way he's moving and the way he's acting. Then you're like, okay, this is, you can kind of see where he's at his end here.
I go over the two endings to this movie. The ending in the theatrical is that Michael Myers gets killed by the main protagonist. Or, well, they think they kill him.
He bludgeons him with a pipe.
Yes, Paul Rudd bludgeons Michael Myers seemingly to death with a pipe.
Something like green stuff comes out of his eyes too. I don't know what that was.
Yes. And then Paul's like, yeah, you're dead. And runs out with the Strode girl. And they're like, come with us, Sam Loomis, out of this town. And he's like, no, I have some work to finish here. Cut to Michael Myers mask laying on the ground, but his body's not there. Cut to a shot of a pumpkin while you hear Loomis screaming in the background. End credits. So it's extremely abrupt. Yes, sir?
Can I go a little off topic here for a second?
Go for it.
Did you like, by the way, Jamie has another baby, and, Michael kills Jamie, and, Jamie's like 15 or whatever she's supposed to be, and, she has a baby, and it's heavily implied that Michael's the father of the baby.
Yeah, in the producer's cut, there's a scene that heavily implies that Michael's the father. And then the producer's cut is different. There's more elaboration on the Cult of Thorn that takes care of Michael, even though you never see them in any of the other movies. And Paul Rudd has a bag full of stones, and on the stones are runes, little characters from Old Norse magic study that are supposed to have magical properties. So he puts them in a circle. Michael walks into it, and he can't get out of it. So they get out, and they're like, Sam, he's stuck in the runes. You don't gotta worry about him. He's like, nah, I got some business. Goes back in. Sees Michael, but it's not Michael. It's actually this other dude who was the guy who broke him out of prison in the fifth one, and Michael's still on the loose. And then the guy who broke him out of prison is like, you're Michael's protector now, and Sam's like, oh no, I have this rune on my wrist. I'm his protector, which was kind of dumb. I don't like either of these endings very much. I at least like the producer's cut ending because it is an ending rather than a vague implication of a scene having taken place, but it's still not a good resolution of the story or the arc, as it were.
Yeah, let's go on to a good movie.
Let's.
Halloween Resurrection. No, I'm just kidding. Halloween H2O. Now for this one, they got basically this is H2O stands for H20, which is Halloween 20. This is 97? Because 78.
Yep.
Yeah. 20 years after the other one, Jamie Lee Curtis comes back. They semi kind of not really all at the same time. Retcon 4, 5, and 6.
Laurie Strode is revealed to have survived and faked the accident, but there's no mention of her daughter Jamie.
There's no mention of where Michael was.
Yeah, they don't talk about anything Michael's done, and they kind of act like Michael has not been seen or heard of ever since Halloween 2.
There was a deleted scene, however, that did explain a lot, all 4 through 6, but they cut it for whatever reason.
Yes. So without that scene in there, it very much seems like they're kind of pretending that 4, 5, 6 did not exist.
Also, Halloween H2O is written by a guy named Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 4. Not Scream 3, though.
It's quality. I'd say it's up to par with Halloween 4, probably not 2, but definitely up to par with Halloween 4. Jamie Lee Curtis does a very good job of returning to the Laurie Strode character and kind of being consistent with that character, despite having not played her for 20 years, which I thought was pretty impressive. Well, not 20 years, but over a decade. And portraying her as older, so it was cool to see how that character would have developed, having changed her name, living in fear, having faked her death, and they kind of talk about all that stuff. So there's very cool character development. What I don't like about this movie is that it doesn't.
Cool J? Oh.
No, I like LL Cool J in this movie.
I did too.
Honestly, he's a pretty good character. It's not in your face, oh, we got a rapper in our movie. He just serves a little small role. He doesn't even die in it. I was pretty surprised. I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah, so did I.
There's no introduction to Michael Myers. He
just kind of shows up.
shows up. There's no explanation as to what he was doing or where he was. It's a quality slasher. There's a bunch of teenage characters because Laurie's the head mistress at a private school in California. So, there's a lot of teenagers that run around and some of them get killed. And Laurie Strode decapitates him at the end.
Yeah, which I thought was very satisfying.
Yes, I was actually yelling at the screen, cut off his head. And then she did it and I was like, whoa, nice.
It's pretty intense. Well, because, like, first they, like, shoot him a bunch of times. They're like, he's dead. And they put him in the ambulance. And, you know, Laurie's, like, you know, about to, like, leave or whatever. They're, like, checking on him. They're like, okay, everything's good. And they put his body in the ambulance. And she's like, no, he's not dead. Because, you know, he's like, I've dealt with him before. He ain't dead.
This is probably unique in the Halloween movies in that characters don't act extremely dumb. There's some pretty darn smart characters, or I don't know about smart characters, but they act intelligently. They don't just do stuff that makes you want to bang your head off the wall, which kind of happens a little bit in the second, fourth, and fifth one. Maybe even in the first one a little bit. But, yeah, this is a very smartly written movie. I like H2O quite a bit. Good film.
Can we skip that next one?
No. We do it. This is the one we have to talk about.
Alright, Halloween Resurrection. Okay, for this one, you know, they're like, okay, so basically we want to make another Halloween movie, but Michael's dead, so we'll just be like, okay, well, Michael, like, grabbed some random cop, and he, like, put his mask on that random cop, and he, like, switched uniforms with that cop, and he put the cop in the back of the ambulance, and then, you know, Laurie Strode killed that guy in the ambulance, even though I don't know how he would survive being pinned against a truck in a tree, to get decapitated. I don't know how he'd live that long if he's just a regular guy, but whatever. And Michael Myers is still on the loose, and now Laurie Strode's in a mental hospital because she killed some random guy, not Michael Myers, and it drove her insane. And Jamie Lee Curtis is like, yeah, I'll come back to do it if you like kill me. They gotta kill my character, but I'll come back to do it. And they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so the first 20 minutes is spent killing Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's actually the best part of the movie. Easily. It's actually a pretty good scene where Michael Myers is, you know, finding his way into this mental institute and getting to Laurie's cell, and Laurie's, like, not taking the medication and trying to fight him off and stuff, and she almost gets him, but, you know, having accidentally decapitated someone who was not Michael, you know, cheeky boy that he is, starts grabbing at his mask like, oh, I'm not really me, you wouldn't want to kill me. So she kind of does something dumb and it's like, well, let me just take that mask off, you know, and then dies. Gets hung from her cell.
Also, she, like, kisses him, like, with his mask on. I thought that was kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. It's a little weird, but she, you know, she's crazy, so give the benefit of the doubt, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And then, you know, Michael gives his knife to some weird guy who's in the asylum. And this is where they retcon it, because he says, like, all the things that Michael's done. He's like, he says all the murders that Michael has done in between Halloween 1 and 2. And then he says he disappeared for 20 years, and then resurgence in Halloween H2O. And it's like, whoa, there's films in between there. That's where you retconned it.
Yeah, so technically not retcon in H2O, but then Resurrection makes it final. And then, you know, once they kill Jamie Lee Curtis, they're like, wait a second. Michael's main motivation is killing family members. He has no more family members. What's he gonna do? Oh, he's just a bum who lives in the Myers house and does nothing. So after he kills Laurie, he just hangs out in the Myers house, and then there's a bunch of people who I guess are like students in a school. They meet up with Busta Rhymes, and Busta Rhymes has a show, and his show is going around looking in spooky places. So they put on cameras, and they go in the Myers house, and Michael kills them. And it's so dumb. It's so stupid.
Everything, like, once he gets into the Busta Rhymes stuff is, like, really boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the kills and everything, it's all boring. The only entertaining part after that is when Busta Rhymes karate kicks Michael Myers through a window. Oh, you know, that's, like, how stupid it is. And everything else is boring. Like, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, it is easily the most boring film out of all of them. And the kills are kind of uninspired. You don't care about any of the characters. They're even worse than, like, the characters in 5. that are kind of like, oh, I really just want these people to die. Like, you really just, you hate these characters in Resurrection. Except for Busta Rhymes, honestly. I didn't mind his character. The whole karate chopping thing was dumb, but... or karate kick, I think, right?
Yeah, he kicked him.
Well, honestly, I didn't mind his character. It was all the kid-student characters that I just hated. It goes too far into modern slasher territory where it just becomes awful. Just bad. This is easily the worst movie in the entire franchise. It's just boring, except for the first 20 minutes, which are good, and then it's bad. It's terrible. There's not a whole lot to say about it, other than that it's just boring and bad. There's nothing really even sticks out about it except that it's pointless. It's a movie that really didn't have to be made. They could have made like a 20-minute short film in which he kills Laurie Strode and then was like, then Michael Myers disappeared forever, never to be seen again. But of course they're not going to do that because they've got to make that money somehow. Ain't nobody paying full ticket price to see a 20-minute short film. Forget that.
Which is funny because this was the other one that was directed by Rick Rosenthal.
Yes, he directed
Two.
probably the second or third best one, and then the absolute worst one.
Alright, I think it's time we move on to Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yes.
The remake.
So after 8 films in the original Halloween series, they give it a reboot. And they give it to none other than Mr. Rob Zombie himself, which is a very polarizing, divisive, controversial director. Some people love him, some people hate him. This film is extremely frustrating, even more than 6 is. 6 has a lot of good ideas, but just sucks. This one has good ideas, and sucks harder. The first part of this movie, the first half, is Michael Myers as a kid. Backstory with him and Loomis, the mental institution. And then the second half is redoing the first movie with Laurie Strode. Except they mention that she's his sister this time. So that's like knowledge that you have going in. Yeah, both kind of suck. How do you feel about the first part, Ben?
The first part is like, okay, it feels like they're like, okay, we're gonna explain how Michael is why Michael is the way he is, but he's already the way he is by the time we start this movie, so forget about that.
Yeah, like you kind of, if you're gonna do the backstory, then do the backstory and explain why he is the way he is.
Like the first scene that he's killing his guinea pig.
For no reason. It's like a guinea pig or a hamster. And he's strangling it to death.
Yeah. And like they try to justify by like he has really hick, disgusting, like rude parents, but it's like, and his sister is mean as shit. But it's like,
yeah, he doesn't like his dad. His dad is mean to him. His sister's mean to him. Kids at school are mean to him.
One of them played by Junie from Spy Kids.
Really? I don't even think I noticed that.
Yeah, one of the bullies.
That's
the one he beats up with the log. The
yeah.
It was Junie from Spy Kids.
He goes to the hospital and he's with Loomis and stuff. And at that point I was like, yeah, we're gonna get a real look into Michael's head here. And you don't. You see that he likes to make masks.
And he denies that he did anything.
Yeah.
He pretends like he doesn't know what's going on.
They skip the best parts, which are conversations between the two, Sam understanding what is with him. They jump from, oh, he doesn't know that he killed them, to, I really want to get out of here, to, I'm not going to talk for 15 years. You hear Loomis go on about how he's pure evil and stuff, we want to see him reach that conclusion. But it never happens. We just skip around and we see little bits and pieces, but not enough to actually understand more than we already did without even ever having seen it. So the whole thing's pointless, which is so disappointing. Alright, on to Halloween 2, the sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Also directed by Rob Zombie.
Yes.
Again.
I like this one a lot. Maybe even more than 4 and H2O.
I don't like it as much as you do.
I didn't think that you would. Well, I think part of the reason why I didn't like the first remake a lot is because it teases it being like a like a full Rob Zombie movie, it's got like the worst parts of a Rob Zombie movie,
Sure does.
which just makes it irritating and frustrating. Whereas the second one, he veers off the path and doesn't just remake the Rick Rosenthal directed Halloween 2. He kind of like does a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, which I did like how he didn't just remake Halloween 2.
Yeah, but then veers off and does his own story, and I'm like, yes, boy, that's what I want to see.
Before we jump into, some plot points, the first 20 minutes are like, okay, because it's like in the hospital or whatever, you're like, okay, this is it tricks you. You're like, oh, this is like a direct remake to Rick Rosenthal's Halloween 2. And they're like, oh no, she wakes up, 20 minutes, a dream sequence. That whole 20-minute dream sequence. Like, I don't know, it didn't make me angry, but I was kind of like...
I thought it was clever.
Yeah, it was kind of like, because, they usually don't last that long, but at the same time, I was kind of like, it was a little bit of a waste of time.
I think a certain part of it was supposed to be what actually happened, and then at a certain point, it's kind of like her dreaming about it, or just recalling it, or something like that. I thought it was clever, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm aware of what happened in Halloween 2, but I ain't doing that. It's like, okay, cool. Which was actually pretty good, because things get pretty crazy in the dream, and I'm like, don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then they do something else. I'm like, yes. And this pretty much everything I wanted to get out of the first remake, I got in this one, which was Descent into Madness with Michael Myers. You get that with Laurie Strode, because she's got like PTSD, crazy stuff going on after she's survived her encounter with Michael Myers, and dealing with that, and now she lives with the sheriff cop from the first one, and his daughter, who also survived, who was played by the actress who played Jamie in the first movies, and you just watch her really, her mind unravel as she's unable to move on with her life and deal with what's going on, and things just get worse and worse until she finally realizes that she is actually Michael Myers' sister. All of this happening as Michael Myers is making his way back to Haddonfield.
He's making his way downtown, walking fast, chasing past in his home.
Michael Myers' mother shows up, like, as a ghost, along with child Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's how he sees himself.
Yeah, and they, like, walk around with him, and she, like, tells him to kill people, and I'm like, this is super crazy and weird. I'm with it. If you're going to do something different, then go for it, and this movie goes for it. And I'm like, alright, I'm with you. I'm willing to give it a chance, and I think it paid off. The first 2/3 of this movie is just watching Laurie's life unravel and Michael make his journey back to Haddonfield, and kind of, the encounters he gets into with stupid hicks along the way. The Sam Loomis is not in it that much. He's kind of like a B-plot character. Most of the movie's focused on Laurie. Sam is kind of in the background. He's become a bit of a jerk. The fame has gone to his head. But he wants to move on from Michael, but everybody's still talking about Michael. So he writes a book about Michael, publishes that Laurie Strode is his sister, and that's how she finds out, by looking at the book. At the book. And then he returns at the very end to help out to save Laurie from Michael. And the ending is dumb. I don't like the end.
I don't like the ending either. Okay, one specific question about the ending. His mask is off for a good portion of that whole end sequence, and he just has a regular face or whatever. How did you feel about all that?
Yeah, I didn't like any of that. Everything is good until Sam Loomis runs into this, like, shack that Michael Myers is in, and he has, like, Laurie held there. And then, for some reason, Michael takes off his mask and talks. He says, "Die!" in, like, a regular voice. And then just, like, kind of tries to tackle him, and then gets shot and killed, presumably. And then they do this dumb thing where Laurie's like, oh, I'm gonna pull a Jamie at the end of Halloween 4, and, like, picks up a knife and, like, goes to kill Sam, and then she gets shot. It's like, that came out of nowhere. Like, we see her becoming more mentally unstable because of what's going on, but there really was not enough to clue you into
that was gonna happen. Because I mean, all she does is like you don't even. I didn't even think that's what she was going to do. Like once after they shot her, I was like, okay, I can see why. I can see like that theory in my head. Like as soon as she like picked up the knife, I'm not like there's nothing in my head that's gonna go, oh, she's gonna stab Loomis. Like like the idea is there, but it's like I didn't like the way that they portrayed everything didn't make me think that her character would do that.
Yeah. And then the last part of the movie is, or like the last shot is like her in like this all white like hospital, which I guess is supposed to be like in her mind or something, and like Michael Myers' mom is there with like the horse, and it's like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, but at that point I don't care because I'm already mad about this dumb ending. But the ending didn't ruin it for me. I would say that the sequel to the remake is very well directed, well edited. I like the music in it. Good performances all around. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'd say it maybe cracks my top 5 Halloween franchise films. I like it that much. Whereas the original remake is like right down there with Resurrection. Okay. So that's the whole franchise. That's every single film. 10 films in the Halloween franchise. So, okay, I think we're pretty much in agreement that the original Halloween is the best. Will be your second best.
Take a gander at all these here.
For me, I would have to say Halloween 2. I think it's the closest to the original. Although, I would say it's probably tied with Halloween 3 for me. Because I think... for second place.
As far as like movie-wise, yeah, I'd probably go 1, 2, 3. But as far as like Michael Myers, I'd go 1, 2, H2O. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I'd probably put, as far as the Michael Myers go, the Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 before H2O, but after 4. So, like 1, 2, 4. Rob Zombie's 2, H2O, I think. Because I like H2O, but not as much as those other ones.
Next films we're reviewing. Chucky.
I thought we were doing Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, or Chucky. Both at some point.
You'll get reviews for both of those. I don't know which one will go up next, but we already filmed it.
Well, we definitely did. We're not kidding you about that.